last Friday, the federal government of Nigeria suspended Twitter operation in Nigeria, after which Twitter deleted a post by President Muhammadu Buhari, which it deemed as violent. Now, today on the streets of Lagos, we would be talking to young citizens as to what they think to the recent suspension of Twitter. My name is Marianne, and I'll be your host for today. Welcome to Street Voices on TV Independent. Keep watching. Okay, when you heard about the federal government suspending Twitter operation in Nigeria, how did it make you feel?
Well, it came as a shock for me. For the next 5 seconds, I was like, really? Like, did they really do that? Because I had to think about it. Trump was his own was even worse than what Buhari is facing, because he was suspended. Like, he couldn't have access to Twitter, and then other social networks also did the same. And I was like, if a whole US president did not suspend Twitter, why would he do that? So I feel the way I saw it was like, okay, probably it's a past agitation that came into manifestation. Like, they were waiting for a time for them to just, okay, Twitter has been doing this thing, Twitter has been supporting that, so they just needed a moment for them to just, capture the whole thing and say, this is the reason why we are doing this. I feel it's not because of the recent, yes, it's not the recent thing that made them suspend Twitter. It's been a past agitation. They just needed a platform to really unleash. Yes.
How did it make you feel when you first learned Twitter was going on
I
suspend?
was really angry. I was mad. Like, what the who does that? Because on the norms, fine. Aside, definitely, I know there's a string attached. Definitely, there's something cooking somewhere. But it just came as a shock, like she had said, and I felt, this is where journalists, even most people, get informations. Like, before it even goes to other social media, you get your info there, you write your story, and you just paste it or send it. So it's kind of like, come on, and it's really, I felt bad. I was really angry because first, journalists, we have to just find another social media and platform to check out your stories from, and also you can just be updated. Like, you can really get to know what's up before you can, like, okay, this is what actually happened or something. It's really, though, this is Nigeria, anything can happen. And so, but seriously, it doesn't freak me anymore. Anything can happen. If this is the right minute, we don't even know what will happen in the next 10 minutes, 10 seconds, no, 10 seconds actually, 10 seconds, we don't even know what will happen. So it's just Nigeria for you, so you should be prepared.
How do you think Nigerian government should have handled this situation? How do you think they should have handled it?
Well, for me, I feel what they should have done is not to ban Twitter. There could have been a memorandum where they will have to dialogue. Okay, fine, we know that Twitter has its regulations, and we know that as a president too, you have your own way you want to govern your people. Yes. So what should have happened is, let there be a table of dialogue. Let the presidency make it known to Twitter that this doesn't go down well with us, and then hear from Twitter before you go ahead to ban, because this banning has caused a whole lot of setbacks for so many people. Businesses have been put on hold. There is no outstanding organization presently that will tell you they don't have a Twitter handle. So it's put a whole lot of things on hold. You can get access to information on Twitter, you can buy things on Twitter, you can sell your brand on Twitter, you can do so many things on Twitter. So for me, what they would have done is have a memorandum. We don't like what you did. Probably you should do this, you should do that. And then let Twitter now say, okay, probably we'll follow this step, or we don't go with it. Then you can now have an excuse to say, okay, we spoke to Twitter, we told you guys to do this doesn't go down well with us, then this is what we want to do. Not waking up in a break of light and say, no, we don't want this. That means you're telling us that we're not in a democratic system, or rather we're not an authoritarian system. That's what you're just indirectly telling us. Because for the fact that people can air their views, and and you as a president cannot respect people's view, you're more concerned about your own, it's like enforcing his own opinion on us. That means we don't have a say. We cannot do what we want to do. We cannot express ourselves. That's what he's indirectly saying. Because he might not see it that way. He might feel, okay, Twitter did something bad, but he's not looking at the side of the citizens. That's how I see it. So for me, there should have been a dialogue. Is the best way out. Speak out first. Have a dialogue. Let there be a conversation. Then from there, you can know what next to do. Not just, going straight to the ban. Yeah.
What Twitter should have, what the FG should have done was like send a memo or something. It's something that can really actually resolve. It's not something you don't just make a decision, a selfish decision on yourself, you're putting millions of Nigerians. Oh, this is not nice now. Come on.
Looking at the bad side of Twitter and the whole thing, fake news.
Of course.
So we can also say it's
They
a way
also-
for the government to regulate fake news.
Definitely. But
So how do you think
the thing
government
is,
should put a rule in place towards amending things, Twitter life, Twitter
the thing is,
regulation?
the thing is, it's we are the ones, we are the problems. That's what I'm because we are the ones. Definitely, you know the right thing, and you're not doing the right thing. You're a journalist, you know your ethics and everything. So you need to go and read everything. You need to know your ethics. If you know, you should know you don't carry fake news. You don't. It's highly prohibited. You can't do it. Which, well, if you know that, definitely every other person or probably, and you're telling people that are working in other media agencies or media organizations that don't carry fake news or don't spread rumors or something. You should know these are the things we need to know. If you know all these things, there won't be problem. Seriously, the country will be fine. It will be a better place for us to live in. We are the problem. We are the
The thing is, how many people know what is fake news? That's one thing we need to, because people these days jump at information. They see so, and especially information that are pleasing to them. They might not want to get to the roots of that information. The fact is, oh, this thing sounds nice, and before you know, they're sending it to the next person. So the thing is, how many of us know what is fake news? Because we keep saying this thing, fake news, fake news. What exactly is that fake news?
Which is what the government is trying to curb, by the way.
True, they are trying to, but do you know that it's like you telling somebody that don't tweet anymore, don't send messages anymore.
Put rules in place.
Fake news is somehow similar to rumor. You understand? It's somehow similar to rumor. So to me, I feel what they just need to do is banning Twitter isn't the way out. Because, okay, if Twitter can pull down your tweet, that means Twitter should be able to know when you pass an information that isn't true. Do you understand that? So if I'm tweeting, you have regulations. You're telling me do not post things that have to do with genocide. Do not post. Then that means you should also be able to watch the tweets that I post. So if I'm uploading something, you should be able to know that this thing isn't true. So I believe what Twitter should do is I believe they have a media department that regulates the kind of information, tweets that goes out. So they should be able to assess this thing. So that's what they should do. So banning them isn't the way out. You can decide to say stop tweeting, and I'll decide to spread my fake news on Facebook. Will you ban Facebook as well? And then I move to Instagram. Will you ban Instagram as well? And then you tell me to stop using WhatsApp. Will you? So I think that's just what there are so many social media platforms out there. So how many will you ban? How many?
What was your first reaction when you heard or read about the federal government suspending Twitter in Nigeria?
Okay, first of all, I was surprised because it doesn't change anything. It doesn't really affect the friction that is going on, and that should not be the way forward. Because I mean, the statement the president of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, made was kind of dicey, and people interpreted it in different ways. So I felt like what should have been done should have been like a conference that would like explain further what he meant. You get? So banning Twitter is like that's what Nigerian government know how to do these days. You ban cryptocurrency, you ban Twitter. I mean, I'm sure Instagram is next. And funny enough, the truth is it has not really stopped anything, because people eventually change their location and then they continue tweeting, and government officials were still tweeting, and so I felt like it didn't change anything. It only made matters worse because they're trying to force your rules on us, and then when you push people to the wall, they end up bouncing back. Yeah.
Okay, now moving along, what do you think should be the way forward? What do you think should be the way forward?
Okay, if Buhari wants one Nigeria, he should speak the 3 known different languages. So you should be able to bring everybody together, not put out a threat. And then if you want to hold conference, let the conference contain world peace. I mean, this is what a lot of people are actually emphasizing on Biafra, and it's really scary because most people that have actually witnessed the civil war, they are not in encouragement about it. So if you want to bring people together, you need to speak their language. You need to bring them together, say things that would, encourage oneness. Yes, and try to diversify. Don't just say we're going to treat them in language they understand. It feels like you are not even part of us and you're trying to cage us or something like that. So I felt like that was the wrong move, and they should go back and do something about it. Yeah.
Do you think Twitter was right to have set up its first ever headquarters in Africa, to have set it up in Ghana? Do you think Twitter was right to have done that?
I feel it's a strategy for them because Nigeria is not. To be honest, I wouldn't even encourage anybody right now, to be honest, to actually like want to do business in Nigeria for now. So I feel like it's a strategy for them, and I mean they must have thought about a lot of things before doing that. But Nigeria will be better, so let's keep our fingers crossed.
When you first heard the federal government was suspending Twitter in Nigeria for a while, what went through your mind?
What went through my mind was like, is this the next thing they are supposed to look into? Because there are a lot of things that needs to be handled in the country, not even Twitter. Because Twitter is the only way that we youth can actually express our own opinions, like for other people to see it. Like during the NSAS period, Twitter was a very like, what I say, the best platform to like hear our opinion. So when I heard that, I was like, there are better things to look into than you banning Twitter. So that's my feeling.
So, do you think the federal government overreacted by placing a suspension on?
Yes, I think they did because I looking at why it was banned. I think it's because Twitter took down the president's post and all that. So I think they overreacted by banning it seriously because now we are just left in the dark. But what I continue saying is that until it's, will I say, it will come back to them, they will really need that help to maybe put things out there because they use it. Then they will know that what we did was actually wrong.
So, how do you think the government should have, approached this matter when Jack actually deleted President Buhari's tweet? What do you think how do you think they should have reacted instead of suspending Twitter?
Me, I really do not know. But what I would say is that when this the owner of Twitter, Jack, putting his tweet down, it wasn't a bad thing. I think it's the policy of the app because I know that during that NSAS period, there's some posts that was put down by the what is his name, the owner of the app. But I don't know. Like I think there are other better ways to handle things. But this social media stuff, this social media has always been a thing in this country. The government they said they wanted to control social media and all the others. I just think this is just like an avenue, an excuse to just penetrate and to just do what they want to do. For me, I'm still thinking they will come for other apps too, maybe like Instagram and WhatsApp. We never can tell. This country is very unpredictable. You just wake up and see something new.
Lastly, how has it affected you? Has it affected you in any way? Twitter suspension, has it affected you, and how?
Actually, I'm not really a Twitter person, but for the fact that I'm not really a Twitter person, but I actually go to Twitter to access information. Like during that Inibong stuff, when I was hearing seeing people post it, I just downloaded my Twitter app back to get information. Now it's like I'm in the dark because even during that girl's death, that Andrew was like that app was like the best for to get information, and for people that actually even do online jobs like sell and all that. It's going to be really, I don't understand, like you are cutting this country away from, will I say, development. That's the way crypto was banned and all that. Cutting it from development, it's not really right actually.
Well, to be honest, I at first when I heard the news, I was a bit disappointed because for God's sake, this is 21st century, and then every day they tend to bring in more technologies. They are doing different things are coming out and stuff. You hear some different apps every day by day. When you go on, for example, you go on Play Store, there are so many apps that you don't even know which one is which. So when I heard the news, like I said, I was disappointed. I was like, okay, why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? Is not nice. Okay, for the fact that other countries like a country like is it China, or they ban Twitter, that doesn't mean we should, because we have freedom of speech. For God's sake, when during the protests, the NSAS protests, it's our right to protest. When when the government are not doing well, it's our right to protest. Okay, fine. Then we the youth, we came out to protest, and then okay, the owner of Twitter, Jack, he tweeted and he was like supporting us and stuff. Okay, I don't know. I was expecting the government to like, okay, fine, for the first time, for the whole youth to come out like this. Let's sit down and listen to them. But instead, they did not. Okay, now they are coming out to ban Twitter. It's in fact, as far as I'm concerned, it's embarrassing because now they are still using the same Twitter. You can yes, and they even used Twitter to ban it. It was funny. So it
Okay,
was.
now, let me cut you short real quick. Are you saying that Nigeria federal government is trying to get back at Twitter for joining the protest with the youth, the NSAS protest? Is that what you're saying right now?
I don't know, maybe because I feel they are upset for the fact that the owner of Twitter supported us. So, but I don't know if they're, even if they are upset, for God's sake, even when Donald Trump did, he said something and then Twitter took down what he said. So there are some rules and regulations that they have. So okay, fine. Our president, he said something he was not supposed to say, and they took it down. So he now came out to call for okay, that they call for the suspension of Twitter. It was not, to me, it was not nice at all. It was.
So, moving along, what do you think is the way forward?
Well, I feel well, I'm not in the government, but I believe banning of Twitter will not solve the problem. Insecurity here and there in Nigeria, so many things are happening. They are supposed to focus on that. Instead, they are banning Twitter. They've been adopting children and stuff. They did not call for press conference, nothing. But all of a sudden, when they took down what the president said, they just came out and then they announced that they are banning Twitter and stuff like that. There are so many situations on ground, so many things for them to tackle, but meanwhile, they are not doing the right thing. So I feel they should just forget about this Twitter of a thing, because you banning Twitter will not solve the problem. Look at the situation on what is happening. There are so many things happening. Look for how you're going to solve the problem and forget about Twitter.
One of the many basic fundamental human rights we're being privileged to is the right to expression and right to speech. But what happens when this right is being taken from you? Thank you for watching this episode of Street Voices. Don't forget, you can also join in on this conversation. Let us know what you think. Twitter suspension, how has it affected you? Thank you for watching.